Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Top Shelf podcast. Hope you're all well. Similar to the last one, we'd just like to say a massive thank you for all the support that we received on episode 2. Over 1,000 views again. It's absolutely ridiculous that we're hitting these, especially so early on. So hopefully this one gets a similar amount of support than the last two. Of course, it wouldn't be a Top Shelf episode without Paul. Paul, how are you?
Hello, I'm alright. Thank you for asking.
How was your sleep last night?
Very good. Grand total of 0 hours and 0 minutes of sleep. So we're cooking with gas today.
Commitment to the cause is very poor, I have to say. But yeah, no, today we're going to be talking about maybe some different topics than what we usually do. So we're still going to be talking about football. So we're going to be discussing our thoughts on the UEFA Team of the Year that was released. Obviously, we gave our Team of the Year in episode 1. But that was our FIFA Team of the Year. So obviously we'll speak about the UEFA one to see how they compare. We're going to talk about the Premier League awards. They were announced, I think it was either last week or the week before. So we're going to see if we were right or wrong with those. We're going to discuss a couple of the results over Scotland and England over the weekend, a couple of games that kind of stood out, a couple of games that disappointed. And finally, aside from football, we're just going to be given probably something we should have done in episode 1, but just a little bit of background as to me and Paul, how we met, what we've been doing since we left school and stuff, and just how we became pals. So yeah, if you do enjoy this episode, don't forget to drop it a like. Obviously, subscribe if you're new, share it around. That would be appreciated. So let's just get right into. We'll start off, I think, with the Team of the Year. So I have to say, I'm pretty disappointed with it, Paul. I don't know about you, but I think it's quite off on a couple of occasions. What do you think?
No, I feel the same. There is a few choices in there that are just not supposed to be in there, and I don't know who decided that they're supposed to be in there, but they're fucking off their rocker.
So the back five. So I think in the back five we managed to get three out of the five. So obviously UEFA. This is UEFA's team of the year. Remember, obviously ours is the FIFA team of the year, but we'll compare them anyway. So we've both got Neuer in goals. Also, I don't think we can take that away from anything. Alfonso Davis is at left back, and Sergio Ramos is at right centre back. Now, controversially, they've included Van Dijk in their left centre back. Obviously, we had Andy Robertson, who isn't actually a centre back, but I think out of all the defenders, there should have been another left back in there because kind of two left backs stood out over the course of last year. So, but they've included Van Dijk. I mean, obviously, we kind of had a debate about Van Dijk and Ramos, so I suppose we can't sort of complain, but at the same time, I don't think I don't
I can
think
still
it's.
complain.
I mean, you can still complain. I don't complain, as I said, because obviously since he's come in, Liverpool have won two trophies and they won the league last year. And since he's kind of got injured this year, they've went miles off the gas. So you have to say he is kind of the key in Liverpool's like kind of good performances and stuff. But I mean, it is maybe a little bit controversial in some people's eyes. Not so much in mine, a lot in yours, Paul. I do believe, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I just don't see the point in having Van Dijk in there. Like, uh, who else did I say was meant to be in there? Oh, we had Trent as well.
Yeah, and
Aye,
we're
that
just
was the
going to
other
get
one.
onto that. UEFA have put Kimmich at right back. So no Trent Alexander-Arnold in UEFA's eyes. It has to be Kimmich at right back, they said. Which again, if he was included as a defender in our FIFA choices, you would say he was going to be in there for us. We said that at the start, didn't we?
Yeah, I would definitely have put Kimmich in as a defender.
But
I
as we
see Kimmich as a defender, to be honest.
yeah, no, he's more of a defender. But obviously, as we were saying, FIFA didn't have Kimmich as a defender nominee. So we kind of couldn't include him in there. But we were saying that if we did put Kimmich in, we wouldn't have put Robertson in at the back. So kind of Trent Alexander-Arnold was in there regardless, but no Trent for UEFA. They've gone with a five-man midfield. Again, we'll just compare it from the six at the front to the six that we had. We've got one, two, three out of six. Again, a couple of very interesting choices from UEFA and their team of the year. Um, what do you think of Thiago's inclusion in UEFA's team of the year, Paul?
Dreadful, shouldn't be in there. You just get in the bin. That's my opinion. Like
um,
he done well at Bayern for the first half of the year, and then when he came to Liverpool, what's he done?
I know,
He's done
I
none.
know. I mean, obviously, he had all the stuff with having coronavirus and stuff, and then also I think he got injured
And
as well. So he's not played much, but in the times that he has played, he's not made as much of an impact as what Liverpool fans said he should have made.
yeah,
So I,
because comparing to like Bruno, who isn't in this for some strange reason, but
obviously we're
Bruno has done a lot more than fucking Thiago.
obviously we're talking about the UEFA Team of the Year. You guys can't see it. We'll put it on the screen at the start of the clip so that you can see the UEFA Team of the Year. Um, Compared to ours, obviously as well. We had ours on the screen last time. So Thiago again, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think at Bayern Munich, like kind of from like the beginning of last year to the Champions League final, he would have deserved to be in there, but I don't think he continued his form onto playing for Liverpool. So I don't think he should be in this, especially since Bruno's missed out. You have to look at that and think, right, if Thiago's in there, Bruno should be in there. Like anyone should be in there if Thiago's in it. So another very controversial decision. Again, something you feel strong about, Paul. What do you think of Neymar's inclusion in UEFA's Team of the Year?
I think that's even worse than fucking Thiago.
Yeah, I agree. Why is Neymar in there? Again, you have to look at PSG, and also they got to the Champions League final. They won another French league title, but Neymar just right. He's a world class player. Like, and obviously, no one can deny that he's a world class player, but I don't think he deserves a spot in this team either. Now, obviously, they've got a completely different formation than us as well, so we can't exactly say. Now, you've got to look at obviously Mane and Salah and all that, and like Ronaldo and all that, and see like they've done a lot more last year than what Neymar did, so they should be in there more than Neymar. So why Neymar is in there, I don't know. But again, this is UEFA's Team of the Year. FIFA's Team of the Year might be completely different, but yeah, no, Neymar again should be nowhere near this team. And the final one that we disagree on, obviously, is Lionel Messi as in UEFA's Team of the Year. Paul, thoughts?
Um, it's just a given, and I hate that it's a given that he should be in the team of the year because every year he's in it, and just think it's unfair.
I mean, don't get me
Like,
wrong.
yeah,
Like, obviously, you're saying he's always in it, but in previous years, he has merited a place. Like, he's done so much in a calendar year in the past to deserve to be in the team. Like, he'd probably be the first name in it. But this year,
yeah, but like it's it's like a thing with Messi and Ronaldo. It's like they have to be in it every year, even if they've done shite.
it's like we said. I
'Cause
can't remember if we said it the last episode or the episode before, but Messi and Ronaldo are probably going to be in the team of the year until they retire. Like, there's no chance that they're not going to be in it one year. They're going to be in it every year.
yeah,
But as I said, obviously
yeah,
I was just saying, like Messi, he's done a lot in previous calendar years, like most goals in a calendar year. Like he's just done so much at Barcelona previously. But also, as we were saying last year, he's had this whole thing about possibly leaving. Barcelona just haven't been great last year, and even when they haven't been great, it's usually Messi that like picks them up and like his performances make Barcelona get results. But Barcelona were losing to like teams they're usually hammering, and Messi was playing shit against teams that he's usually great against. And then obviously, as we were saying, the Barcelona Bayern Munich 8-2 game, Messi just was missing in that game. Alphonse Davies pocketed him. And even this
yeah,
season as well, Barcelona again haven't been great. We were obviously saying about Messi not being probably in the right mindset since obviously the whole leaving Barcelona thing. So I don't think this year he's deserved a place as much as previous years, but it's like you say, because it's Messi and Ronaldo, because they've been the best players in the world for years, they kind of have to be included. Like, you can't not include them. But again, you've got to look, that's the centre attacking mid role where Bruno usually plays. Bruno deserves to be one of the first names on the team sheet in this team of the year. He's been unbelievable. So, again, an unfair exclusion for Bruno, but you've got to, as you said, just accept that Messi and Ronaldo are going to be in there for years to come. And then the last two, we agree on Ronaldo and Lewandowski. Can't really complain about that one, can we?
nah.
I thought you'd gone then.
Yeah,
I was like, where have you gone?
Lewandowski's nah. Lewandowski's obviously going to be in there. So I'll agree with that one. That's one of the only ones I'll
I'd
agree
hope
with.
so. I'd hope so.
Yeah, Lewandowski is just the best player in the. Well, last year he was the best player, and if they'd done the Ballon d'Or, then he would have easily have got that.
Oh no, yeah, 100%. Like, obviously, as we're recording this now, obviously we kind of had the whole confusion in the first episode over Ronaldo's goal scoring record. Now, I think what you said was right about him not being closer to it than what he thought, but as it stands, and as we're filming this, last night was Juventus against Napoli, and Ronaldo has officially scored the most goals ever. But that's based on
Yeah,
figures that they have. Obviously, you had different numbers, but they're giving him it just now. But I think they're going to look into it and see. But I mean, regardless, the amount of goals he scored in his career, and the fact that he's still scoring a shit ton of goals at his age, and even when he starts on the bench, he can come on and score, even if he gets like 10 minutes. So, again, not really a person that you can exclude from this team. Had an unbelievable year again. He's done it in four different countries, even with club and country. So, again, Ronaldo, in my opinion, better than Messi, always has been. And yeah, again, someone else that you can't deny. So, that's our team of the year compared to FIFA's team of the year that we've done. So we'll put the UEFA one on the screen now. Let us know what you think of it in the comments below. As we're saying, a couple of very controversial picks for UEFA's team of the year. But obviously we were doing FIFA's team of the year, which is a completely different thing. So once FIFA's team of the year is released, we'll compare that as well. But that's how mine and Paul's team of the year compares to UEFA's. Okay, on to the next thing, which is obviously again in the first episode, Paul and I placed our Premier League awards predictions. So the Manager of the Month, the Goal of the Month, and the Player of the Month. Again, they have since been released, and again we got 1 out of 3. So Player of the Month ended up being Bruno Fernandes. Thoughts on that, Paul? Did he deserve it? Do you think?
yeah, easily. Like it's annoying because he has won it what like eight months out of the 11 months he's been there, or however
I mean,
many.
I think he's won 8 of Man United's Player of the Month awards, but I think Premier League, I think he's only won like 4 or 5, so he's not won as many as what we thought. But Man United's Player of the Month, he's won a good 8 or 9. But Premier League's Player of the Month, he's only won like 4, I think.
Still, he, it's still better than fucking some folk.
I know.
But he does deserve it. He does deserve it, which is annoying because I don't want him to deserve it, but he does deserve it.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's coming from a City fan. I personally don't think he did deserve it. I think there was a couple of players in there that did deserve it. Obviously, we were talking about El Ghazi. We had a big thing on him. Emi Martinez again had an unreal month. Salah and Rashford, like
Hey,
they were.
wait, actually, I forgot who was actually in the Player of the Month. No, he doesn't deserve it. No, get the fuck. No, Martinez should have got it. It was
I
either Martinez or who was the other boy? El Ghazi.
El Ghazi, yeah. I mean, Aston
Aye.
Villa did have a good December, and those two kind of stuck out. I'd still say out of everyone, Rashford deserved it, but I think for the first time in the whole Player of the Month, I don't think Bruno, out of all of the players that were nominated, I don't think Bruno deserved it at all. I think it should have been between like Rashford, El Ghazi, and Martinez, but um, Fernandez got it, and fair play. He's made such a difference to Man United, and you can't deny that. So a Player of the Month award, and a month he doesn't deserve it, just shows, like, I suppose how good he's actually been. That he's not doing that much goals and assists wise, but Man United are still getting results. Goal of the month. Again, we got this wrong. We both said El Ghazi's, but it was actually Haller's overhead kick. What's your thoughts on that?
Fucking bullshit. He's already had a goal of the month for the exact same goal last year, and it's just boring.
I
It's
mean,
boring
obviously, I think if
compared to the others. It's boring.
your overhead kick has to be something special. Like I think if you like shin it in from like 2 yards out, then and it's an overhead kick, then it doesn't deserve it. Haller's, I mean, obviously it was good. Like he got like high up, like really high up to like make contact with the ball, and it went right into the top corner. So I suppose you can't deny that it was a good goal. But I don't think it's been as good as previous overhead kick winners. But again, if you pull off an overhead kick from a reasonable distance and like it's a good finish, it's obviously going to be up there as a nomination. I don't think there was any beating that, but I just wanted to see El Ghazi's goal win it because of the fact, in my opinion, it was like better technique and it was a much better goal. And we didn't think he was going to get Player of the Month, so we kind of wanted him to get Goal of the Month. But yeah, again, another possibly controversial decision. So let us know what you think of that in the comments. And finally, we got one right. Manager of the Month. There was only one winner for that, in our opinion, and that was Dean Smith. Also, we just said about Aston Villa's month that they had. only conceded one goal. Got like I think it was like 12 points or something like that. Um, and yeah, they've just had an unbelievable season. They're obviously behind on games because of their like coronavirus stuff. So hoping that they can get their games played and get up there because obviously I do want Aston Villa to do well. I have a soft spot for them. And obviously you have to look at them and say where they were last season compared to where they are now. It's just unbelievable. It's kind of like Leicester. Like obviously they're not doing as well as what Leicester were, but like obviously down there for relegation, kind of avoided it on the last day, and now they're up there for kind of the Europa League spot. So yeah, what's your thoughts on the manager of the month, Paul? Deserved, has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, easily. I don't think any of the other managers really deserved it. Like Ole kind of it was up there, but I think he might be up there for this month.
If I need to keep
Um,
playing like this, definitely.
yeah, I think he's doing better this month than last month. So I think Dean Smith was a much better manager than all the others,
Again, as we're
in my
recording
opinion.
this, and oh no, wait, yeah, I think who was it? Don Scheich, Sean Dyche, Ole, and who's the other one? Sean Dyche, Ole, and
Uh,
Ancelotti. Ancelotti, that was it.
aye,
Dean Smith had the better results, kind of had the much better month than all of them, so there was no denying it. But again, like you say, Ole was probably the closest to contending because of the month Man United had. So yeah, I think between Dean Smith and Ole, you have to look at results and you have to look at like points gained in the month. And Aston Villa did get more points and probably did have the better stats. So don't think there's any denying it. But as you said, if Ole keeps doing this with Man United, he'll probably get it this month. Because as we're recording this, Man United beat Fulham last night to win 2-1 and go back to the top, and City beat Villa 2-0 to go to second, with City have a game in hand on Man United, so that's very close. Paul Pogba's starting to show why Man United paid 100 odd million for him, but only what 3 years late, 4 years late. It's fine. But no, when Paul Pogba plays like this, he's frightening, and hopefully he continues it. Because I want him to stay at Man United, but obviously it's just a case of his performances. Because if it's poor, I can see him leaving, and if Man United don't kind of keep this form going, I can see him leaving. But aside from that, we're digressing. Dean Smith deserved Manager of the Month, and yeah, so that's 1 out of 3 of the Premier League awards. On to just some of the results that happened over the weekend. What was your standout game of last weekend, Paul? Like a game that kind of you looked at and thought, "Wow, did not expect that." What game would it be?
um,
We'll say England first. We'll
well,
do Scotland secondly. We'll say in England first.
right, Christ. I'm not gonna lie, did not pay much attention. This weekend, I've just not paid attention to anything really. I've not seen much. But nothing really stands out. Like the whole Liverpool United one. I didn't watch it. I should have,
I watched
but
it.
I'm kind of glad I didn't
Yeah, no.
because it's nothing happened.
It
I've heard,
always
but
happens though. You always expect that from a game like that though.
uh, the only thing I've seen is the refs fucking blew the whistle like 4 seconds early while Manny was on a run or
Oh
some shit.
yeah, no, I was. Oh, I was. If I was a Liverpool fan, I would have been fuming because it's a blatant one-on-one. If Manny continues
I,
that run, he's going to score. But
yeah, I saw that and I was like, right, okay, Liverpool should have won then. um,
that's
but
probably
yeah,
also that's the disappointing game. But as I've said, that's been the case with such big games of recent times. Like you look at like the Manchester derby this season, like it's going to contend a title this year, and it was 0-0. One of the most boring games of the whole season so far was the Manchester derby. Again, Liverpool United, two contenders for the title, could possibly decide the final places 0-0. Like Man United
yeah,
didn't play great, but they had to defend well. And Luke Shaw, honestly, I, I did question why we signed Alex Telles because well, also we've got Luke Shaw and um, he's not a bad left back. He's kind of come onto a game since Ole signed, and now that just like kind of hammers that point home. Alex Telles is not going to get a game at United if Luke Shaw keeps playing like this. Luke Shaw was unbelievable. Like you have to look at like the so-called big players, Rashford, Fernandez, and all that. Fernandez went missing against Liverpool. He was nowhere. He had that free kick which went about an inch wide of the post, and that was Man United's best chance of the game. Luke Shaw kept Salah out of the game, and then when Salah and Mane switched, kept Mane out of the game. Luke
Mm.
Shaw was just class. Like that's the best performance from him I've seen of recent games. He was unbelievable, and like you could tell Salah was getting ratty because he wasn't getting a shot on goal, and he's only really happy when he scores. Like he wasn't getting a chance, he wasn't getting a sniff anywhere near United's goal. Luke Shaw was unbelievable, and honestly, I can't stress enough how much he deserves a lot more praise than what he's actually getting. He was just class. Like if it wasn't for him, Man United would have lost. But we're still up there. The game that sticks out for me, obviously, you have to look at the two teams that we kind of predicted to go down. One, Wolves and West Brom. Obviously, West Brom won 3-2 and Brighton beating Leeds, which was a
Yeah, to
big.
be honest, I think the Brighton game, Brighton Leeds is pretty big
Yeah,
because
100%.
well, actually, both of them for West Brom to win 3-2 against Wolves at home for Wolves. So that is pretty big because Wolves last year were a force to be reckoned with. This year, they're just shite.
They have been over the last few seasons. Like since they've been promoted, they've been like, in the top six, top seven.
And now they've just dropped off.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's the lack of fans.
the lack of fans could play a part. I think kind of obviously Wolves were doing all right until Jimenez went off. Obviously with his injury, is it down to him not
Yeah,
being there that that Wolves have kind of taken their foot off the gas? Ruben Neves
but they
isn't
can't.
being, eh?
They can't just rely on one player.
I know. Like as we said, like as I was just saying, like Neves hasn't been as influential as what he's usually been in the middle of the park. Traore's lacking confidence. You can tell, like with his final balls and stuff, he's just not. Like I don't think players are as scared of Adama Traore as what they would have been this time last season. Like he was frightening
No,
last season, he was frightening the year before, but I think now people know how he is. He just takes a touch and runs. People have like kind of decided and kind of clocked on they need to sit off him and not give him a head start. So I think that's why Wolves haven't been as clinical. It's mainly they're so clinical because of Adama Traore's balls in and Adama Traore's pace and like kind of like productivity in the final third, but it's not been anywhere near it this season, and I think that's why Wolves have been so poor. Fair play to West Brom though. Fair play to Big Sam as well. He kind of got the tactics spot on, got them a win. I think since then though they lost to West Ham the other night, so if they'd won that, they would have been out the relegation zone, and Burnley would have been in it. But
yeah, it's
they,
a bit mental. They went from winning against Wolves to then losing it. Yeah, against West Ham.
yeah, I mean it's not mental because obviously you have to look at it and say West Ham have been class since the new year.
Oh,
Like
they have been doing all right.
yeah, like they've got one recognised striker now. Obviously since the goal of the month, Haller's left. He's went to Ajax. The record signing has gone, but Antonio's just making absolute moves. He's playing so well. Like he's scoring every week. He's just class. So I think West Ham could be a wee underdog for Europa League spots, but obviously we were saying before it's really really close. So obviously we'll need to see at the end of the season. And as you were saying, Leeds losing to Brighton I think is a shock. That's the kind of game I could see Leeds winning. But yeah,
Leeds
no,
have just dropped off now,
I
I
know
think.
they're nowhere. I think they're not anywhere near relegation yet. But if they keep up this, they could be soon. So yeah, another shock.
Yeah.
Um, if we're not talking about the weekend's games, another big game during the week, you just said before it was the Leicester Chelsea game, which was Tuesday night.
Yeah. For Leicester to win 2-0 against Chelsea, it's just, you were saying Chelsea were playing shite. Um, I've seen a lot of like posts on Instagram and all that saying is Lampard's time up, but I think Lampard needs more time at Chelsea.
I agree. I don't think he's kind of similar with like. I mean, you look at players that go straight into management. Like obviously Lampard did well at Derby and kind of got them to the playoffs. Didn't get them promoted, but he got them to the playoffs and then got Chelsea Champions League in their first season. But yeah, I do think he needs a bit more time, but a couple more results like that, and he could be off before the end of February at least. I don't think he'll last much longer if Chelsea keep playing like this. But man, fair play to Leicester. It's like Mad. I don't know if you heard Madison's interview. he was kind of addressing all people saying, "Oh, they're up there. They're just fluking it. They're getting like they're
Oh yeah,
scraping
yeah,
wins
yeah,
and
yeah.
that." And he's like, "Oh, we're not up there by fluke. We're there because of hard work. We're there because of dedication. We're there because of belief and all that." And Leicester City are back to their best. Which is fair enough. Leicester have been one of the most consistent teams this season. Yes, I've predicted them to finish fourth. If they keep playing like this, they could be higher than that, but you never know. It's so close. But yeah, no, Leicester have been class. Like they've not got any world class players, but like the players that they have they play so well together. Like Vardy, Harvey Barnes has been playing well recently. Madison, and Didi's like kind of the rock and like between the midfield and the defence that keeps Leicester going. Albrighton, he's getting on a bit, but he's still so creative and so influential. Um, James Justin, he's proven to be a great signing for Leicester.
He's been good this season.
He's been class. He's been unbelievable. Obviously Johnny Evans, that Wesley Fofana, or whatever his name is. Just Leicester.
Onana.
Shut up. They're just so they're just so. We'll ignore that. They're just been so consistent this season, and I do agree with Madison. Leicester aren't up there by fluke or by luck. They're up there because they deserve to be, and they've played so well. So yeah, that's the games that stick out. Obviously for us are the West Brom game, Brighton game, um, and obviously the Man United game disappointing, which was to be expected, I think. But um, yeah, I mean, yeah, there was nothing else to be expected. Sheffield United getting another loss.
What a surprise!
Obviously, they could have picked up on their win against Newcastle the week before and taken that into the Spurs game, but you know, another loss. They're now sat on 5 points, and with West Brom and Brighton, and obviously, well, Fulham lost, but that's obviously now West Brom 3 more points away from Sheffield United. So you have to say, could Sheffield United be a Premier League club this time next month? Maybe not. They could be confirmed relegation. I think as early as the beginning of March if they keep losing games. So um,
I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna finish the season on like 10 points.
I mean, the worst Premier League season I think is 11, and that was set by Derby like 12, 13 years ago. So they're on course to beat that, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna see this out. They'll be down, I think, in this time next month. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because I did like them last season. I like Chris Wilder, but yeah, they've just not been great this season. Okay, so moving on to the Scottish League. Obviously, the game of the weekend being Ross County against Aberdeen. A 4-1 victory for Ross County, which was a bit of a shock, I have to say, but a certain someone getting 2 goals. Paul, thoughts?
They're good. I'm very happy with Ollie Shaw getting 2 goals. First minute, 84th minute. It's a great game for him. And I'm pretty sure you said he got the man of the match as
He
well.
did, and I
So
think he was the width of the post away for his hat trick, so it could have been even more glory for him, but nah. But no, I think going to Ross County is the best, not the best move he'll make, but I think certainly leaving Hibs was a good move given the depth Hibs have now with like Nisbet and Boyle can play up there and Doige, and I think Shaw just would have been like on the bench every week or playing for the under
yeah,
21s or whatever. So I think going to Ross County was a good move, and his performance this week obviously showed that. I think he's Ross County's top scorer now. He's on 7, I think. Is it that? He was on 5
uh,
before, now he's on 7.
I think it's yeah.
So yeah, fair play. Obviously, you said it in the last episode about Ross County doing
So
well
much
because of
better.
Ollie Shaw. And the first game after that, and they've gone and won 4-1, and he's got a double. So yeah, good on him. Hibs obviously beating Kilmarnock 2-0. That's kind of ends Hibs' kind of purple patch of kind of bad form. Gogic, I have to say, I don't really like to say much good about Hibs, but a pretty decent goal from him, an absolute rocket, an arrow into the top corner. Um, 2-0 nils, Livingston against Celtic at Celtic Park. Pretty boring. I think on my coupon I had over 2.5 goals, so that kind of just took a big fat slap in the face straight away. Um, Obviously Celtic playing again with a depleted team. That was still, I think that was like the last week before they could start playing strong players because of the whole Dubai trip and the whole self-isolation stuff. Hamilton and Dundee United drawn 0-0, which is obviously now put Hamilton bottom of the league. Ross County have climbed up to 10th after their win. Motherwell sitting 11th, which is a massive shock. Paul, I'm sure you agree. Looking at Motherwell last year and looking at them now, they're like 6 places different, and Motherwell have usually been kind of in like the top four for the past couple of seasons, so to see them 11th is a big shock. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm surprised with Motherwell. I thought they were going to be mid-table. Like at this point or at the end of the season, I thought they were going to be mid-table. But we'll just have to wait and see. See if they climb up again. But I'm not too sure if I can see them climbing.
Obviously, Celtic's draw with Livingston gave Rangers the chance to go another uh, what 2 or 3 points clear at the top, but Rangers dropped points, funnily enough, against Motherwell. Motherwell going 1-0 up on like I think it was 21 minutes or something, and then Rangers levelling it in the last 20, like scraping a draw there. I heard Motherwell were kind of like a stubborn outfit, and Rangers couldn't get past them. So Rangers dropping points, but then you look at the table and you see Rangers 20 points clear, Celtic with 2 games in hand. So even if Celtic win the 2 games in hand, that's still 14 points. So there's no denying that Celtic are going to win the league. That Rangers are going to win the league. Celtic's 10 in a row won't be happening. Um, and
What a
yeah,
shame.
obviously we were saying about Celtic having their glory days. I think if Rangers keep this team, obviously keep hold of Gerrard, which is going to be difficult. I think I can see Rangers going on a wee run like Celtics. Maybe not as great, like winning every cup for 4 years in a row, but I can see them kind of getting a couple of trophies under their belt and getting back to how they used to be this time, what, 10 years ago. And obviously the last result being St Johnstone against St Mirren. Nothing really to write home about. 1-0 St Johnstone. That's a good result for them because they were kind of lurking about the bottom. That's lifted them up to ninth. So there's 4 points between 12th and ninth, and the 12th and 8th even in the Scottish Premiership. So it's kind of close at the bottom. It's kind of tough to say who's going to go down. I can see Ross County avoiding it now, to be honest. John Hughes is a good manager. They played great against Aberdeen, so if they keep that up, I can see them kind of bumping up a bit. So yeah, a couple of good results in Scotland, and also as usual, a couple of boring games. So that kind of clears up the football side of things. So yeah, what's your thoughts on the results in Scotland this week? Who do you support? Let us know down below. Let us know how your team's getting on. And obviously, we're excited to hear. Excited to hear. We're happy to hear your obviously thoughts on everything as well in Scotland and England. So, moving on to non-football related topics, we're now just going to be taking a bit of like insight to kind of mine and Paul's friendship. If you don't want to hear this, then just obviously tune off now. Don't really blame yous, but no. So, Paul, I'll let you explain the first part. Kind of how did we meet and like what kind of made us become pals? Because it didn't really happen until like the last year of high school, really, didn't it?
Yeah, nah. Well, I think we're always in the same friend group since about I think S1, S2, but we never really like talked as much. You always had your wee friend group in the big friend group, and then I was always just a floater. I think. Uh, a big fucking steaming turd in the friend group. um, but nah. Last year, I think S5, S6 was the big years for us.
Basically, when I got
I
a
think
car.
because the car, McDonald's rides, Tesco rides. Uh, but I think just the classes because we were always in admin,
Yeah, no,
and
yeah, that's true.
I think admin was a big thing because the teacher was a bit for teacher was great and just let us talk near enough
Mr.
and do
Hamilton,
our own
what a
thing.
man, what a man.
Exactly.
To be fair,
So,
we weren't in the same admin class in S5. Don't think we were.
uh, oh, but was it? No, 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 no. It was just S6.
That's what I'm saying. Because in S6, it was like every class. Like I sat next to you in maths, I sat next to you in English, I sat next to you in admin, I sat next to you in supported study, I sat next to you basically in everything. We were in the same class for everything. When you turned up, of course, that's obviously that played a big part. Paul liked a
Aye,
lion, it has to be said. But
still do.
he'd only ever like a lion on a Tuesday morning when we had double maths. And I'd be sat on my own like an absolute dingle with like S4s and S5s one day looking and sitting that 5 maths for the 3rd year in a row with no pals. So that was always fun. Um, but then obviously kind of as I say, we got the car and it was always McDonald's. Cameron told McDonald's on a Friday morning.
Getting
Um,
the breakfast.
Getting the
But on Tuesday
breakfast.
mornings, it was always the cafe tatty scone rolls.
That's true. But then
Done this morning, it was great.
it's hard to think that when we went to Cameron Toll McDonald's, you were still working at the fucking golf course, earning what twenty
Yeah,
pound
so
£20 a weekend.
so backstory for people listening, I used to work at a golf range, basically cleaning all the bays and collecting the balls from around the big net. And it would be 4 hours and I'd get £20. But if I did it faster than 4 hours, I'd get less than £20. It was the shittest job. I stayed
You
there
got
for
that
like
because of Mr. Cartwright,
three
didn't you?
months. Yeah, I think there was a sheet in PE, like the corridor, advertising the job. And I think it will have been up there for months. Uh,
Wonder
I
why.
went, I went for an interview and they said, "I start on Saturday," or something like that. Uh, so I started that and I was fucking shit. I left and the sheet of paper saying that there was a job available was still up in PE. So
Wonder
to
if
this
any...
day, it probably still is.
But then, obviously, we'll ignore all the boring stuff. Like we were in the same class. We used to like skip classes a lot. But then I got put on a part-time timetable by a certain deputy head
Shall not say names.
because of my refusal to do advanced higher PE. I'd rather do higher business. It was a whole college thing. I would have rather done higher business than advanced higher PE because I needed one higher to get into college. So I thought I'd rather do two hires to double my chance to get in than sit one higher and have my chances slimmer. But she thought that was a bad idea. And then she got my mum into school, NS6, bear in mind, so it wasn't exactly a great look. My
No.
mum was like listening to Miss McGlashan, and my mum was raging at me at the start, but then she left, and obviously I left on a part-time timetable. Only came in for admin and English. I wasn't allowed to come in a minute earlier than when those classes started. It was horrendous. There were some days where I'd start in the morning, I'd have to go home and then come back in the afternoon. It was a waste of fucking time. Anyway, so obviously that kind of happened, and then prom came around, and I mean, for us, it kind of just disappointed because I didn't have my ID, so I couldn't drink. You weren't 18 at the time, so you couldn't drink.
No.
I mean, it was a good night nonetheless, but I just think it could have been a lot better. It was my own fault for forgetting my ID, but um, yeah, I mean, it was at a nice location and stuff, and it was like a nice way to end high school. But as I say, it was just a bit disappointing for me because I didn't have ID. But then, of course, obviously, we were lucky enough to have a prom. Obviously, any prom last year was cancelled, so I suppose we can count ourselves lucky that we weren't in that situation. Um, but then we left school, and that's kind of where everything started to like come together, and we started seeing a lot more of each other. You moved out and
Yeah.
you got a new job and all that, didn't you?
Yeah, I so after school I got an apprenticeship in a lawyer's and I couldn't be asked waking up early to travel into town each morning and
From Dalkeith, that is.
it's only like an hour bus and I know everyone like, loads of people do longer like journeys to work but I just couldn't be asked because I was a lazy shit. So I would go to work and then I got fed up, so I moved into my dad's flat because he moved out. He moved in with his girlfriend, so I had the flat to myself. And then you started coming over,
I mean,
and
it was they proposed a move in, but then I was working Argos on like between 500 and 700 pound a month, and the rent I was going to be paying was just a lot more than what I could afford at that point. So it obviously wasn't the best idea, but just every Saturday it started off with me saying, "Oh, can I come over? Can I come over?" Like most Saturdays from like November that year, and then it just got to the stage where I just texted him on my way over. Like I wouldn't even ask. I'd just come over,
yeah,
fucking duvet, PlayStation, like just bags full of stuff, like I was coming for a week, and then we'd just kind of sit and play career mode all night, and just
it was great. Like honestly, like just setting up the tellies because I had the projector, so the big fuck off, like I don't know how 100 inch fucking telly, and then you had the wee telly next to it playing career mode, playing Ultimate Team,
Plubs,
and
plubs. Don't forget plubs.
I
What
clubs
was our team called again?
fucking.
I actually can't
We had
remember.
multiple teams. It was better than Mussy.
No, that's the
There was
one. The one that we
Grape
got.
Troop.
The one that we got to Division One with. It was BTM, better than Mussey.
Uh,
And then we bottled Division One
uh,
and ended up in like Division Four. But
uh,
yeah, just
um,
coming in, seeing like the wee couchside table, as you'd call it, sat in the middle of the room, knowing that the telly was going to be going on to that. I'd set up my PlayStation and we'd ordered food, and we'd just sit up until stupid hours playing career mode, playing PlayStation, just playing anything really, and then I'd leave on Sunday like afternoon. Um, and there was no
no, but
chance. There
you'd
was no
also have the late night Tesco trips.
late night Tesco trips. Yeah, that was honestly midnight. We'd be bored and we'd just go to Tesco for I don't know like squares bars and a banana milk or something, just something raj like that. But obviously there was no physically, there was financially for me no chance I could move in because of the whole me being on like no minimum wage, but like shit money. Um, but I just kind of kept going over a lot and kind of got a feeling of what it would be like to live with you briefly. And then March 2019, I got a new job in an after school club, earning over £1,000 a month on average, which was a lot more than what was on at Argos. And we moved in together. I think it was June 2019 we moved in together, and
Yeah,
that's when it kind of started. You swapped rooms, you got the better room, even though you were in the shitter room before. But
yeah. Went from the wee room to the big room, obviously.
and I got stuck in the wee room with like nothing in it, like no telly, didn't have my PlayStation, like just a chest of drawers and a cupboard. That's all I had in my room. Like I had nothing to keep me entertained at night. So I'll say lived there from June. I'd go home at weekends though. I think that's my only regret living there is not being there at weekends. Like I'd go home on a
Yeah,
Friday.
I never really got that. I know, like you done football and shit, but like you going home at weekends is like, what? Like, why would you even do that? It's like you've moved out, but you haven't moved out.
I know, yeah, like so I'd live there, like, so it'd be Monday night to Thursday night. I'd go to work on the Friday. I'd go back to my mum's on a Friday to obviously see Penny, and I'd stay at hers on a Friday. Then she'd work on a Saturday, and on the rare occasion I'd come over on a Saturday during the day if you weren't working, and we'd kind of do something. But if not, I'd maybe go to the Corn Exchange with Daniel for bubble football or something like that, and then I'd stay at my mum's on a Saturday. I'd go to football on a Sunday because I played in Pathhead. I lived in Pathhead. It just made sense to stay. And then I'd come home at like half eight, nine on a Sunday night, and then I'd just repeat that all the time. So yeah, I think that's probably my only regret was not staying there on a Saturday night. Me and Penny were actually talking about that last night as to why we didn't stay there on a Saturday night. But um, yeah, kind of it made no sense, and I know that now. But it was just good to have obviously my own space and stuff for basically a year. It was obviously lockdown that I moved out last year. Um, but living together it was good. It was a challenge at times because you were a messy fucking
I
dick.
we were both dreadful.
I think we did
I
we didn't
like
really
when we
care.
wanted to
Like we
clean.
just kind of chucked like plates in the dishwasher and stuff after meals and not put the dishwasher on for like a good week because there was never really much stuff in it to clean, and the floor sometimes would just be covered in like takeaway bags, so whenever we had a takeaway, like, we never really cleaned it. But like to be fair, towards the end of the time, like kind of Christmas time and like January time, like last year, we kind of started doing like regular cleans, and obviously that all came to an end because of lockdown. But just think how much Corona's ruined. Like, I mean, I'd still be working at my old job, which isn't great, but I mean, I've got a better job now, and we'd still be living there, and probably Beck would have moved in by now, and it just
Yeah,
would be great. But instead, I'm back at my mum's. You're living in Leith now with Becca.
yep.
A lot's changed in a year. I was saying yesterday, it's nearly a year since we moved out, but um, I mean,
Moved out and left me by myself.
during lockdown for what 4 months, but then obviously, eventually, once the restrictions were eased, your dad moved back in, and you had him for a short while. But yeah, for the
Yeah.
first couple of months, you were on your own. So a bit only 10 months late, but sorry.
It was
But
actually all right though, being on my own. Like being on my own was quite nice. I had quiet times. I was going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was waking up at like 4 in the afternoon. I think I've mentioned this on like the first episode, but
Yeah, you did. But
uh, it was good. It was good because I had no worries. But like I did have some days where I was like, oh shit, like there's actually none to do. Like I have no one here.
there's only so
I
much.
can't even see one.
There's only so much as sleeping and eating and playing PlayStation that you can do. Like you didn't have anyone to
Uh,
like go out a walk with, or like, even just like speak to, like in the same room. Like you kind of were on your own a lot, and you grew that horrendous beard.
I'm sorry, that beard was amazing.
I don't care what you say. I'm putting a photo on the screen so you can
I
see
was about to say it
Paul's
anyway.
lockdown beard. It just wasn't even a beard. It was just like someone had trimmed a bush and glued it to his face. It was horrible. It was horrendous. An orange bush just on his face. It was terrible. But um, I mean, I made out in the first episode. Penny pulled me up on it. I made out in the first episode like it was horrible living with her during lockdown. It wasn't. Like obviously, I said in the first one that I had the choice to either stay at the flat, stay at my mum's, or stay at Penny's, and obviously I didn't want to go possibly 3 weeks, but we knew it would be longer without seeing Penny, so I moved in with her like briefly, and like we did some decent stuff. Like went on a lot of walks, and like I took my PlayStation over eventually. So like if like she wanted to have like time to herself, I'd like play FIFA or something, and she like had her Zoom chats with her pals, and we'd have our Zoom quizzes and stuff, and um like we'd just have a laugh. It was decent. Obviously, there was times where like we did argue in that, but I mean, it wasn't as often as what I made out. Like it was rarely, and then obviously I said about her birthday in May, her 18th birthday in May, so that was a good day to celebrate. And then I moved out and spent ages redoing my room at my mum's because it was just empty. Um, and now I'm still here. I say you've moved out, so you were selfish enough to get a one-bedroom flat, so I can't even rent we again. Remembered.
Oh, Christ.
But no, I mean, obviously it's good to have your own place. Hopefully, me and Penny will have our own place first. But um, yeah, if obviously you now know the mine and Paul's story about living together and how we became pals and stuff. Probably should have done it in episode one, but um, we just kind of thought that there was a lot more to discuss, and we just kind of wanted to test the waters with football to see how it went. Obviously, it got a lot more views than what we thought, so I'm assuming football is probably going to be like the most like wanted topic and stuff. But if you do like us talking about other stuff, then obviously let us know. I do know for a fact a couple of people that I've told about this aren't a fan of football, so I'm sure they appreciate a story that isn't football. Any non-football related topics you want us to put in, obviously let us know, and we're happy to put them in. But for the time being, that's it for this episode. Don't know how long it is. I've not really paid attention, but I think it's probably one of the shorter ones. So we hope you have enjoyed it. Obviously, do like it and subscribe if you're new. Share it around as well. Hopefully, this does as well as the other ones. As I say, maybe not, given that it's not all football related, but we just thought we'd try and put something else in just to vary it up a bit and try and attract other people as well. Paul, as usual, anything you'd like to say before we leave?
No, I think you've just covered everything. Just thank thank you for listening. Uh, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Yeah, obviously we're going to be sticking this out. I mean, we've done YouTube in the past, and it's been like 4 very shabby videos. Look like they've been filmed on a potato later, and gave up because we're not getting views and stuff. But because this is something we've actually always wanted to do, we're going to try and make something of it. So yeah, it would be very appreciated if you could share it around. Also, I've said that a lot, but it just would be great if you could. Our links to the Twitter and the Instagram, as usual, are in the description below. So if you can go give them a follow, again, that would be great. But in the meantime, we'll catch you on episode 4. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.